Hello, everybody, and welcome to Spanish 2020 here at East Tennessee State University. My name is Matthew Harrison, and I'm very excited to be your instructor for this semester. Spanish 2020 is Intermediate Spanish 2, and this, of course, is the online section. So if you thought you were in the in-person section and got confused, I always just like to make sure students know in the beginning that this is the totally 100% online section of Spanish 2020. There are no required in-person meetings. That being said, I do always like to make some videos for you throughout the course just to give hopefully that same in-person feel as if you were in a classroom learning the content. The cool thing about Spanish 2020 is that it's the fourth course in a four-semester sequence of languages. So you have Spanish 1010 and 1020, and then 2010 and 2020. The exciting part about 2020 is that it's just a review of the basic grammar concepts you've already learned and sort of learning about applying those concepts to vocabulary and grammar and reading and watching videos and making some videos of your own. So that being said, I do have several videos for you throughout the semester related to the grammar topics we'll be studying, because I know that there are just certain topics in Spanish, no matter how many times you study them, they're always hard for certain people. So you will have these videos to help you and sort of simulate an in-person experience for us. And I'll tell you more about those in just a moment. But this is the online class, and if you need to get in touch with me for any reason, my email address is listed here. It's harrisonmt1@etsu.edu. Guys, please don't forget that one, harrisonmt1@etsu.edu. There are 3 Matthew Harrisons, all of whom work at ETSU, and we constantly exchange emails from one another, and occasionally one of them is a computer science professor, the other works in the chemistry department, and they just get very confused when they get emails in Spanish. So please make sure that you include that one there, okay? You also have my Skype username here. It is mharry, Harri, 18. And we will be using that for our oral interview, which will take place at the end of the semester. Obviously, if you've taken Spanish 1010, 1020, or 2010 at ETSU, you've probably had an oral interview for all of those courses and probably already have a good idea of what that entails. But just so you know, you do need to have a Skype account for our course. You can create one for free at www.skype.com. And it is free, and at the time of your oral interview, you'll need to Skype me using that username there. Okay? You have my email address. In the event that you need to contact me, just shoot me an email. Guys, I pretty much live on my email, and I do my best to respond within 24 hours or less. That being said, sometimes it will creep into that 48-hour time frame, specifically on the weekends. I'm not as on my email quite as much on the weekends as I am during the week, but that being said, always 24 to 48 hours you'll get a response. Please make sure that you do not wait to do your assignments until Sunday night at 10 o'clock and then email me with 2 minutes or 2 hours remaining on your time. Make sure that if you do have a question that requires an answer, that you start your assignments early in the week and give yourself plenty of time to ask and receive an answer to your question. Okay? But that being said, I am not one of those absentee professors who does not answer emails and will never get back to you. You can always expect a response within the 24 to 48 hour time frame. Okay? We've talked about Spanish 2020 and what that entails. As far as the text we'll be using for this semester, our text is called Facetas, and this includes access to what is called Vhl Central. Okay, and depending on when you took Spanish 1010, 1020, or 2010, you probably used a Cengage textbook with either iLearn or MindTap access, okay? And this is sort of the same thing. In Spanish 1010 through 2010, where you had the Exploraciones textbook and then iLearn or MindTap, here in Spanish 2020, we use a new book. It is Facetas, and then you also use the Vhl Central for your online homework assignments, okay? So whenever you're going to purchase this textbook, a lot of students I know like to buy books on Amazon and Chegg and all those sites. This is one that you will need to buy directly from the publisher, or you can purchase it in the bookstore, okay? Because you need that access code for the VHL Central. You can't buy it online. Um, Here's a direct link. I just stuck this on the syllabus, and this is also on our D2L course homepage. This top one here, vistahigherlearning.com/school/ETSU, will take you directly to the site where you can click purchase, okay? You just need the 1 semester access. This is the only course you'll be using this for. Don't quote me on this. I know it's less than $100. I believe it's like $88-ish. And that gives you the e-text and the access to VHL Central. Now, I know some people like to have a physical, like real book to use and highlight in and write in. I'm one of those people, so I do have a real textbook as well. You have the option when you purchase of asking for a real textbook and having that shipped to you as well. Some students are cool with just the ebook and the VHL Central Access, but if you want the textbook as well, you can pay a little extra and get that too. Okay, but all those options are there under that first link. Once you have purchased the book and received access to VHL Central, you will need to quote unquote enroll in our course in VHL Central. Okay, and there's instructions here for how to do that. It'll ask you for a little code, and I think you have to type in my name, and it should just pop up and you click enroll. But there's instructions here that will provide you step by step with screenshots how to do that. So you can visit those sites there for that. Guys, please make sure you get access to this book and the VHL Central site as soon as possible. There's a ton of information in Spanish 2020, and we will hit the ground running this first week with assignments due. So please make sure that you purchase the book as soon as possible. Okay, you of course need reliable online access. You also need the ability to both video chat and record yourself in terms of audio. So a lot of students like to use their smartphone for some of the activities we're doing, whereas for others they prefer a computer that has a webcam and a microphone. So that's up to you. For our discussion boards in this class, we're going to be using what's called Flipgrid, and that's an app you'll download on your phone. And I'll tell you more about that in just a bit, but for those activities, you'll be using the video and recording capabilities on your smartphone. For the VHL Central assignments, for homework, essentially, you'll probably be using the computer. It does work on your phone, but it's just not the same. It's easier to use a real computer for those, and you will need the microphone and the audio. The webcam and the microphone for those. Okay, and I'll talk to you more about that in just a moment. You, of course, need a Skype account, as I said earlier. And as far as how you're going to be graded this semester, I always like to break this down for students. So you will have textbook and ESAM assignments, just activities in the VHL Central site that help you sort of engage with the content that we're learning and practice it just a little bit. You'll have those activities every single week, and I will put those grades in and go back and grade things for you and give you feedback in there. And then I'll put those grades in the D2L gradebook at the end of every chapter. Okay, there's 6 chapters we're going to be covering, so that'll be a total of 6 grades within this category of textbook and ESAM activities. Okay, so 1 for each chapter. Our discussion boards, as I said, will take place via Flipgrid. And Flipgrid, if you've never used it, is really cool. It's very similar to Snapchat. If you have Snapchat or have ever used it, Flipgrid is a forum where you will make a video of yourself asking a question for our class. And it'll just be one question. It'll be short. I mean, we're talking like 15 to 30 seconds for you to pose that question in Spanish, of course. And then your face will appear on the site. And then you'll have to go in and reply to 2 of your classmates and answer the questions that they've asked, okay? So this first week, you actually will be doing a discussion board in Flipgrid, just an intro discussion, a get to know you kind of thing. And I have the Flipgrid site pulled up for you here. You just go to flipgrid.com, and it'll ask you for our code for our class. Our class code is on... I'm going to scroll down for you here for just a second. Our class code is right here. It's Harrison 4473. So if you log in on your smartphone, it'll just ask you for that flip code, Harrison 4473. Or if you log in on a computer, you can click on this hyperlink that I have here on the syllabus, and it will take you directly to the Flipgrid site. Okay, but your first one is just an introduction. and it asks you to answer these 5 questions. So you'll just post a little audio. You'll go down here and click the green button. It'll ask you to access your microphone and video camera, and you'll click allow. And then you will just answer these questions in Spanish and click submit. And then your face will populate on a forum where only your classmates can see. And then you'll need to click on the face of one of your classmates and click reply. It'll look like a little plus sign like that, and you'll just reply to 2 classmates. Okay, you'll be doing those not every single week, okay, but there are several weeks, one for each chapter, where you'll be doing those, and you can see those here. There's the introduction. You can see there's one for chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so that's how those will work. You, of course, have an exam for chapters 1 and 2, as well as chapters 4 and 5. You may recall from earlier, there are 6 chapters we'll be covering, chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the Facetas textbook. I'm only giving you a chapter exam for chapters 1, 2, 4, and 5 because our midterm exam will take place at the end of chapter 3, and the midterm will cover content from chapters 1 through 3. Same thing with the final exam. You're not going to have an exam for chapter 6 because you'll have your final exam at the end of chapter 6, and that will cover content from chapters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You also have 2 written compositions, which are just very short essays in Spanish. These are usually 1 to 2 double-spaced pages using MLA format. And then, of course, you have your final oral interview. And you'll have more information on all of these things as the semester progresses. You can see your grading scale here and what that entails. If you are planning on going forward to any of the 3,000 level Spanish courses, okay, so if you're a Spanish minor or a Spanish major, or you're just going to go on and take any future courses, you need at least a 70%, aka a C minus, in order to advance to those future courses. If you earn a 69.9 or a 69, a D plus, you would not be able to progress to the next level without repeating Spanish 2020. So this is sort of like the entry course for your others. Okay, I said this earlier, you do have textbook and ESAM assignments for each chapter. I'll enter those grades for you at the end of the chapter. These are always due, basically everything is due, guys, on Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Please, please, please do not wait until Sunday to start your assignments. It is so much better for your language learning and in general just a lot less stressful for you if you just spend like an hour or 2 a day studying your Spanish and doing some assignments. It will be much, much easier for you than trying to do them all at the last moment. Okay, your discussion forums, as I said, will take place all via Flipgrid. Okay, you're responsible for this introductory discussion is a little different. You just answer the questions that I posted and reply to 2 of your classmates. But for all the other discussions, chapters 1 through 5, you're going to be posting a question using some type of grammar topic. So if your topic is present tense verbs, you might use, or stem changing verbs, you might use a stem changer to ask a question. Well, ¿Qué quieres hacer después de la clase hoy? What do you want to do after class today? And then when you reply to your classmates, you're also going to use those stem changing verbs and say, oh, yo quiero ir a un restaurante y comer un poquito, right? And just reply using that grammar structure. Like I said, these are not intended to be difficult. They're not intended to take a lot of time. They should be really quick. It's just a way, honestly, to help you prepare for the oral interview and practice your pronunciation in Spanish. Okay. It also helps to facilitate that in-person feel of an online class. Okay, we talked about your exams, your final exam, and your midterm exam. Your compositions, as I said, will usually be between 1 and 2 double-spaced pages. I ask that you please use Times New Roman font and that you use MLA format. You'll be responsible for submitting those to the D2L Dropbox by 11:59 p.m. on the day that they're due. If you would like to receive non-graded feedback on those, guys, I'm happy to read them and give you some notes and tell you, hey, this is correct, or oh, you need to work on this, and I'll do that free of charge, okay? Free of charge, and when I say that, I mean that it doesn't count for a grade. It's non-graded feedback. You can email those to me at least 3 days before the due date. I will look at them, review them, and email them back to you. You can make any corrections and submit your final version to the Dropbox. Okay, I really recommend that if you're feeling like you're struggling. Okay. Um, okay, we talked about those. Google Translate, guys, is forbidden. Please don't use any online translators. I take that very seriously, and it is considered a form of plagiarism here at ETSU in the Spanish department. So please make sure that you are not using any form of translation software whatsoever. Okay, the oral exam we talked about will take place at the end of the semester. You can go ahead and mark your calendar. It's going to take place on a Saturday. It's Saturday, April the 25th. There's a Google Doc here on the syllabus where you can just click. It's hyperlinked, and it will take you straight to a Google Doc, which is editable and public, so you don't have to have an account or anything. You can just go on here and type in your name, type in your Skype username. It's your responsibility to Skype me at your assigned time, but you can see those here. As I said, they will start on Saturday, April the 25th at 11 a.m. My Skype is mharry18. It's your responsibility to Skype me at your assigned time. There will be no makeups for students who miss their assigned time. So please make sure you go through and go ahead and sign up for your oral interview time. And I do remind you of that in the tentative course calendar. I remind you a few weeks, make sure you've selected your time on the Google Doc, make sure you've selected your time on the Google Doc. I always tell you that in those weeks upcoming. So you have that. I don't accept late work, guys, except in the most strenuous circumstances where you have something really, really bad happen, and that's because the course is set up so that you can work ahead if you need to. You can work a week ahead if you know that this is week 1. If you know that week 2 is going to be really busy, go ahead and do week 1 and 2 and get everything knocked out. Okay, so there should be no reason for you to turn anything in late unless you just have something horrible happen. And like I said, I'll work with you on those situations, but there is still a point deduction, and those are all listed for you here. Now, the last composition, the oral interview, and the final exam cannot be accepted late since they do take place during that last week of course, and I have to get grades posted. Those things will not be accepted late. So one more time, the second composition, the oral interview, and the final exam will not be accepted late. If you are a student with a disability and you need any kind of accommodation, please let me know. I'll be happy to accommodate you in any way that I can. Just general recommendations for students: if you've never taken an online class, please make sure that you are logging in to D2L regularly. Also logging into the Vhl Central Site and checking your assignments in there. Usually students tell me that in a fall or a spring semester where we have 15 weeks, generally students expect to spend between 15 and 20 hours per week completing assignments, and that is totally inclusive. That means that's the time for you to read the chapter, time for you to do your assignments in Vhl Central, time for you to write any compositions, do any exams, do any studying, watch any YouTube video lectures, everything. Okay, all inclusive. Now, that being said, there are some people who are already very confident in their language abilities, and you may do it in 8 hours or 10 hours, and others of you it may take even longer. So everybody learns at a different pace. So I hate to quantify the number of hours it will take you, but I always just like to give you that as a baseline, planning between 15 and 20 hours for all of your assignments. Guys, this is a very fast-paced course, and the grammar in Spanish 4 and Spanish 2020 is pretty challenging. Like I said, you've learned these things before, but some of them are just hard. So if there's something that you're having trouble with, let me know, and I'll show you all the video resources I have for the grammar topics in just a moment. But if you are having trouble with anything, please do let me know, and I'll be glad to help you or point you in the right direction. Okay. If you need technical help, the ETSU OIT office is available Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Their phone number is here and their email address is here. Again, if you wait until the weekend to start your assignments and you have any kind of technical issues, they will not be able to help you. So do not wait until the last minute. Okay, it's your responsibility to get those in by 11:59 p.m. on Sundays. Okay, speaking of needing help, if there's anything that you're having trouble with, I sort of want you to develop a routine each week of logging into D2L. When you log into D2L, your site is going to look like this, and you'll see on the week 1 announcements, I tell you everything you should do for the week. You should read the syllabus, watch the welcome video, let me know of questions, put your due dates in your phone or on your paper calendar if you still keep one of those. From the tentative course calendar, and I'm going to go over the course calendar in a second. It's on the last page here. We'll get there in just a minute, but the point in this is that when you log into D2L each week, you see announcements that tell you everything you're supposed to do for that week. And I always include a little meme because I'm nerdy like that and I like memes. But it always tells you what you have to do on week 1. Okay, once you've done that and you've done everything it says on week 1, you can go under content here. And on the weeks where we're doing things with grammar, like let's say you're in chapter 1, there's a grammar video that I created for you that covers all the grammar in chapter 1. And you can see on the tentative course calendar, usually we do vocabulary in the first week, grammar in the second week, and then we usually have our tests and our discussion board in that second week as well. And then we start our next chapter, okay? So usually it's always the second week where you're gonna have a grammar video. But those are here for you. You have a little video of me just helping you out, talking to you about the things in that chapter to watch, okay? Now, let's say you're really having trouble. In this very first video, we talk about the progressive tenses. And if you're just really having trouble with the progressive tenses, I've included a cheat sheet where this actually goes to a website. Oops, I have to open in a new window, sorry. It goes to a website, and I use Spanish Dict a lot for all of these, but it just gives you something to read and talk about your progressive tenses, and at the end it has a little practice quiz you can do to see if you're learning. Okay, there's also usually a grammar video posted where if you learn in an auditory fashion, you can click on the video explanation, and they usually have some kind of funny little song or rhyme or something to help you remember whatever grammar topic. So if you're really having trouble, you have that cheat sheet and the video explanation. So you're not required to review all of these things necessarily, but I do strongly recommend watching the grammar video at least. Okay, so we talked about that. One last thing that I want to add before we go, you can see our VHL Central Site here where all of our homework assignments, exams, midterm, final, textbook, everything is housed here at VHL Central. So once you get your account set up and you've joined our course, this is kind of what you'll see when you log in. Now bear in mind, the instructor version is slightly different than the student version, so it may not be perfect, but this gives you an idea of kind of what to expect. You'll see our textbook listed here, Facetas, the 5th edition. You can click on that. When you do, it'll open up this screen and you can see Spanish 2020 online. That's what you want to click on in order to access our course. It will show you here, mine says you have this many assignments to grade. Yours will show this you have this many assignments to complete. I recommend going up here to the top to calendar and clicking on assignment calendar. Whenever you do, you will see an actual calendar with the day of the week when assignments are due. So for this week, the 26th, you can see you have 26 homework assignments in VHL Central. 26 sounds like a lot, okay? Some of them have like 5 questions and they're very short. So don't freak out about that, okay? They're very short. It estimates a time for you of 2 hours and 34 minutes, and that is if you took the maximum time on every assignment. Of course, you have unlimited attempts and unlimited time, but if you took 30 minutes to do 5 problems, then it's going to take you that long. It should not always take you that long to do assignments, but it's not a bad idea as a baseline to use that when you're planning for how much time to expect for the week, okay? And you can scroll through and see for the whole semester what to expect. Some of these days estimate that you're going to have like 4 hours worth, right? You should not have that much. It's because on those days you have a test, and it factors in the whole like 2 or 3 hours that you would spend taking a test into that time. Okay, so just keep that in mind. I just wanted to show you the VHL Central site and kind of how it worked. And all of that is available for you here. If you have any questions about any of that stuff, let me know. Last thing, here under content, you can see the virtual text, the V-text here, which is how you'll access our textbook in the VHL Central site. Okay. Last thing is the tentative course calendar. As I said, you can see each week is listed for you here. You have Semana Uno all the way through the very last one, Semana 16. And all your due dates are listed. It's always 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, except for this last week. And that's because it's final exam week, and your final will be due on a Wednesday instead of on a Sunday. So that's the only little weird thing. Okay. Guys, please do make sure you take note of all these things. This checklist will help you in knowing exactly what you have to do every single week for the rest of the semester. Okay. And you can always work ahead with your reading or the videos or the discussions or any of that stuff that you need to. Okay. Last thing here in D2L under the evaluation tab, you can see the Dropbox. This is where you'll be turning in your compositions as they're completed. And of course, in the content tab over here as well, in addition to those resources for each chapter, you have something on the subjunctive in general. And the subjunctive is just its own thing. And I know subjunctive is something a lot of people struggle with and maybe don't feel as confident with. So we'll spend a lot of time this semester on the subjunctive. That's why it has its own little module. The discussions, if you need links to all the Flipgrids, those are all here for you as well. And in the announcements that I post on the course homepage each week, I always use hyperlinks to everything. Like you can see, read the syllabus and it's hyperlinked, and it'll tell you do the introductory Flipgrid and it's hyperlinked. I always hyperlink those, but just in the event that you're having trouble, those are available for you here. And then of course, within Flipgrid itself, when you go to flipgrid.com/Harrison4433, you can click on the topics and see all of those here as well. Okay, composition topics are here, and the drop boxes for those are there. And then the oral interview is also here. I don't have the oral interview questions posted yet. I will upload those towards the end of the semester, but let's just say that if you're doing your Flipgrid, you will be very, very happy with the oral interview at the end of the semester. Okay, and the sign-up sheet is posted here, guys. Go ahead and mark your calendar for April 25th. Go ahead and sign up now for your oral interview and just go ahead and have it planned. Others of you, I know if you have to wait for work schedules or whatever, it'll be there later, but I recommend going ahead and getting your time slot early and just planning around that. Okay, that is everything that I have for you guys. If you have any questions about anything, of course, feel free to drop me an email at harrisonmt1@etsu.edu. Hope you guys have a great day. Adios.